Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
This apparently says a call came from inside the White House. I mean, how hard have you guys tried to track down who that person was? Do you have an idea of who it was?
I can't say anything specific about that particular call, but we are aware of it. And we're aware of lots of contacts between people in the White House and different people that were involved, obviously, in the coup attempt and the insurrection. And that's really what all of our hearings have been about. We've had more than 20 hours explaining that this was an organized, coordinated attempt to subvert the electoral process and to substitute the will of a minority for the will of the majority that was expressed, where Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by more than 7 million votes in 306 to 232 in the Electoral College.
Is this the last public hearing?
It may be the last investigative public hearing where we're going to try to round out the factual narrative. I'm hopeful, speaking just as one member, that we will have a hearing that lays out all of our legislative recommendations about how to prevent coups, insurrections, political violence, and electoral sabotage in the future, because this is a clear and present danger that's continuing up right to this day. Remember, January 6th was the culmination of a long process to interfere with people's right to register to vote, to get the votes counted properly, and so on. So we need to deal with every aspect of the attack on our electoral process.
And it was, from beginning to end. And when all failed, when the bloodless, coup failed, and yes, it takes a lot of people to pull off a coup of the United States of America. You have 50 different elections, 50 different states, 50 different secretaries of state, 50 different courts. Giuliani went to 60 courts, lost in each and every one of them. Okay. And so when all else failed, you were left with a whole bunch of people with dirty hands trying to suppress the vote at the beginning, trying to say you can't vote with drop boxes, you can't, in the middle of a pandemic, blah, blah, blah. Then casting doubt on the results and then, saying, hey, let's steal the machines, let's declare martial law. And when all failed, they said, unleash the hounds, basically. Go attack your own capital. And that's where you got the violence. So this took a lot of people. And what the January 6th Select Committee is showing you and me over and over is how many people were involved in this mess. How many people had soily hands? How many people had, filthy, dirty ideas about how to rig an election and were willing to say so, not just in text messages that they thought were encrypted on Telegram or whatever, only to have idiot boy Mark Meadows turn over his phone. People was like, how do they have Mark Meadows' text message? Because he gave his phone. He gave it. He actually gave it. Then he stopped cooperating. Okay, but they have his phone. And so there's so much stuff that they have to explain to us that happened from, voter registration suppression to purging voter rolls to actually trying to say you can't have drop boxes, you can't have mail-in balloting, to, Trump telling his people don't vote by mail, it's rigged, it's bad, it's this, it's that. All these things. And then when all else failed, they said, okay, so now we're going to have a violent insurrection and we're going to go kill Mike Pence. So Mike Pence can't certify the results. That was their last play. Like the Dolphins yesterday, the last play. Bad clock management. I'll take it. But so Wednesday we're going to have another January 6th committee hearing. Now, Liz Cheney is saying this won't be the last one. Jamie Raskin isn't saying it's the last one. He's saying that it might be the last investigative one. And then there may be one where they actually, summarize everything for us before they send a criminal referral, if they do, to DOJ. Now, why would they not want to? Why wouldn't they send a criminal referral to DOJ? Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Merrick Garland has this investigation well in hand. Merrick Garland has eyeballs into what happened here. He's got testimony as well. There's a grand jury that's been convened, etc. If the select committee, even though it is, technically bipartisan, meaning Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney are on it, and Liz is the vice chair of it, if they send a criminal referral over to Merrick Garland, it could look to the lunatic fringe as if Congress on its way out, ahead of an election, is leaning on the DOJ, which doesn't change no matter who we vote for. That's the only, optics that seem like maybe it's not ideal. But she's saying, no, we're going to have more hearings.
Jamie Raskin was here yesterday with Bob Costa.
I heard, yeah.
Yes. And he, among other things, intimated that this hearing might be the last hearing that the committee has. Can you confirm that?
No, that's not right.
Okay. Okay, so this hearing will not be the last hearing that we will see. Not that your work stops.
We don't anticipate that it will be the last hearing.